Warren Sharp came out with this list, basically talking about teams that performed well outside of the opponent's 20-yard line, but once they got to the red zone, things started to sputter a little bit. And he is suggesting that there are several teams that should be able to improve when it comes to red zone offense. When we look at this list, it starts with the Baltimore Ravens, where Warren says the Ravens were 27th in his success rate metric inside the red zone, but 17th outside the red zone. And then he looked at the Falcons, the Packers, Jaguars, Browns, Seahawks, and 49ers. So of these 7 offenses, which one sort of stands out to you where you go, okay, this is a group that could very well improve in the red zone, and this is why we need to be taking this offense a little bit more seriously?
A few, actually. There's a couple of teams on there that I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to bet over on their win total based off of this, but I think we can all agree that everything we're hearing out of, Todd Monken's arrival, all the receivers the Ravens have added, Lamar's going to be throwing the ball. It just seems like a refreshing start to the season. And if you Google it, everything you're hearing is about like these guys scoring in the red zone in training camp, red zone this, red zone that. They have nowhere to go but up in that category. And I think that's a team that I'm going to be high on. Well, certainly there's very high expectations nationally in terms of this new look Ravens offense, but I'm looking forward to seeing what Baltimore looks like offensively, particularly in the red zone. I mean, it sounds like Lamar's looked really sharp. He's finding Odell. He's finding Zay Flowers. They've got Aguilar. So it's going to be fun to watch that team.
Yeah, it certainly will. Paul?
Shocker for me, it's the Jags, obviously. But it was like I watched this movie play out last year. Well, the Seahawks as well. So a couple of my teams are on this list, actually.
Same.
But, right. So, I mean, just the amount of times, and we talked about it last year, the way the Jags offense was moving the ball, and then they get to the red zone, and they fumble out of the back of the end zone or throw a pick or something like that. Even there's countless examples that I could point to. So the other one that's interesting to me as well is the Packers, because we've talked about them being potentially live in the NFC North. Can the red zone offense really be that much worse with Jordan Love? Could it be that much worse with your bottom 5, bottom 6, bottom third of the league easily. I just don't know how much worse it can be. And again, now the argument against that would be outside the red zone, the Packers had the number 11 offense. So, is Jordan Love going to be able to move the ball like that? That's a little bit more dicey. But I guess so. When you're looking, I do feel better about the Jags, where they were 7th outside the red zone and then 21st inside the red zone. And then the Seahawks, 12th outside the red zone, 25th inside the red zone. And they've got the consistency there. So I guess not as high on the Packers when I think about it. Okay, they still have to move the ball the way they did last year if they're going to improve. Even if they're better in the red zone, it won't matter if they're not moving it outside of the 20s.
So I was looking at the Lamar numbers, and we already have an adjustment, even though we haven't seen Monken call a game here. There is so much chatter about what he's going to do for this offense. The Lamar passing prop is 33.50 in the hook. Lamar's never done that. Never. He didn't do that in his MVP year. He was at 31.27 passing yards in his MVP year, and now the prop is set over 200 yards higher than that. Yes, I know one extra game, but still, that was amazing to me. Second most passing yards, 28.82. Again, the number's 33.50. Aaron, I found it interesting that we land on a very similar bet. I just picked a different receiver. I just went with Zay Flowers at 500 and a half as my favorite bet in this one. And just to throw in reminder, we talked about it during the Offensive Rookie of the Year conversation, that 30-1 Flowers. I don't think that's a terrible bet.
Because if Aaron Rodgers is injured, the Jets are in big trouble, right?
Done.
I would not be. Yeah, exactly. I would be very concerned. And Aaron was talking about, I love working with these guys, I don't think no matter how much he helps them, they are not on the same level as Aaron Rodgers, a healthy Aaron Rodgers. So I think the Jets are in deep trouble if anything happens to him.
No, remember when we had that scare with Burrow? Like, that would have changed everything. That would have changed the entire face of the top of the NFC, or just rather the AFC and the Super Bowl picture, you know? I mean, I just feel, don't you feel like that's the case with just about every QB1?
It is that time of year. Once you get into August, it's time for America's favorite hobby, fantasy football. So these weekends will be filled with the homies at Buffalo Wild Wings drafting fake teams. But you know what? We love it, though. It's a part of it. It's a rite of summer. So sleepers is, you know, everybody has so much information now. But I would take a look in the running back position at Dallas Cowboy running back Malik Davis. You know, he kind of fell out of favor. He would have had a bigger role last year, but I don't think he was a favorite of Kellen Moore. And I'm not a fan of Kellen Moore myself. But I think this guy can run the ball well between the tackles. You know they're going to run it well. I don't look at Tony Pollard as a 300 carry guy. I think Tony Pollard is more a 300 touch guy. I think you get him involved in the passing game. And I think, listen, Davis played in that Green Bay game last year. He ran well. They should have went to him when Pollard got hurt instead of going to that old slow Emmitt Smith. But then again, you know, Dak Prescott messed the game up anyway, so it wouldn't have made a difference. JSN, Jackson Smith-Njigba. I know DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett already out there, but really the last time Ohio State is wide receiver you. You know what I'm saying? I don't really care what they say. You got, you know, the two kids now with Wilson and Olave, and then Smith-Njigba comes into this year, the league, to join the Seahawks. And listen, Geno played fabulous last year, airing it out. So, I mean, the last time we see this dude play, I believe he had like 12 catches for 350 yards and 3 touchdowns. So he can go crazy. He's a guy right now that I think little mid-round action on Smith-Njigba.
Knockout stage starts this weekend, and I am very intrigued that Team USA will get Sweden in this group, in large part because, look, if you're placing futures and figuring out, you know, how to bet, you know, which teams are still left standing, Sweden is 16-1, but they rank 3rd in FIFA standings, and yeah, that is a tougher path for them. But in terms of overall quality, that might be a bet to place right away, even if you do love your country. Still, though, you love your pocketbook, so that matters here. England, the favorite right now at 3-1 per BetMGM. They've played about as well as anyone in this tournament so far. But if you're looking at, say, expected goal differential per 90 minutes, Japan, Spain, the United States, and England, those are the 4 teams that have performed the best as far as that's concerned. But Joe, I look at this and I still think there's some value a little bit down the board.